I get asked a lot which accessories I use for my Leica Q3. Instead of just listing the editions I use, I thought I'll check out what specific Q3 accessories are out there and tell you which ones I use and why. Here is my Q3, and this is basically the way it is when you take it out of the box. Of course, it has the lens cap and the lens hood, and now the Q3 of course has the tilt screen. So let's talk first about the aluminum lens cap. This is beautiful, I like it, it's very iconic I think for the Q3. They have those caps on some M lenses as well, but I saw it first on the Q cameras. In the first ones there was a problem, basically the first Q2 ones that always fell off, but they somehow fixed that and now it works perfectly with the Q3. I never had a problem with the lens cap. This now comes in 3 different colors. It comes in black, it comes in silver, and it comes also in a aluminum brass blasted finish. That kind of looks golden, so I'm going to talk about golden most of the time because there are other accessories available in those colors. An extra lens cap is about $50. I think depends a little bit on which color. I think the brass blasted finish is a little bit more expensive, like $5 more, but it also depends on where you're gonna buy it. The lens hood, also I think iconic lens hood for the Q cameras. Of course you can take that off and you can buy another color or even a round one. An extra lens hood is about $245. Then let's talk about the hot shoe cover. This is also an accessory that is coming with the camera. It is black and you can also have it in an aluminum anodized finish or in an aluminum brass blasted finish. An extra hot shoe cover costs about $45 US. Of course, if you have the lens cap in silver or I call it golden, then it makes sense to maybe also have the hot shoe cover in golden. The next thing that is now possible with the Leica Q3s is that you can have a soft release button attached. So this is basically, here you have this little screw mount. This is the same system that you have with the M cameras as well. I have an M camera here. I have an M10R here. So here you can see this has also that screw mount where you can attach soft release buttons. They have in the Q editions, they have the black one, the little red circle around it. They have a silver one and they have also the brass blasted finish one. Of course, you can have third-party soft release buttons as well. There are many around. You can have the little Leica logo. There is a lot of stuff around. So if you want to have this more visual accessory, there is a lot of stuff out there. The dedicated Q3 soft release buttons are around $75. It depends a little bit where you buy it. If you buy other designs, they vary between $50 and it goes up to $250. Now, when I saw this first, that there is a screw mount, I was thinking, oh cool, maybe the shutter release cable from the M system also works with the Q3. So I have this here because sometimes when you do shots from a tripod and you use longer exposure, you need to have a shutter release cable to avoid eruptions on the camera. So this is actually possible to mount, but unfortunately it does not work. I can press it, it does not take a picture. So the system unfortunately is a different one and they don't want us to use this with the Q camera, which is too bad. There is a possibility to remotely release it with the Leica Photos app, but I'm going to talk about that later in the video. After those more aesthetic accessories, I want to talk now for the first time about a very functional one, the Leica thumb support. This is also something we know from the M cameras. It looks like this. And you can actually put this one also, of course, on a Leica Q camera. I used to do that with my Q2 sometimes because, I don't know, I didn't use it that much. But as I'm getting older and I really think to have a better grip when you're using a thumb support, I wanted to have the dedicated Q3 one because the Leica Q3 now has 2 buttons, 2 function buttons that would be covered if you use the M thumb support or if you use the Q2 thumb support. So I have here the Q3 thumb support, and this fits absolutely perfect on the camera. It fits perfectly around the EVF here, and it has those two buttons, which when you press them, of course, they have a system that they're gonna press the original buttons on the camera. So this is absolutely fantastic. I love that because you get really the better grip. And I'm not the one who uses other grips. I'm gonna talk about other grips later. So I only use thumb support, and I really think it's a cool thing. This Leica also offers in silver anodized, and they also support it in the brass golden finish. The thumb support costs about $245. It also depends a little bit where you buy it. There are third-party thumb supports available, but I don't know, I like to go original with those kind of accessories. The next thing I highly recommend is a display screen cover. There are original ones from Leica available. They're a little bit more expensive. They're also about $45. You can buy some third-party ones on Amazon. I had the problem with the third-party ones that I always had little bubbles underneath it. Maybe I'm too stupid to mount them, to install them correctly. So I went to the Leica store in Munich when I was in Munich last year and asked the guy if he would put it on the camera, and he did it absolutely perfectly. I was really a bit blown away by his abilities, but he said that he does that so often that he knows how to do it. So I highly recommend doing that just to protect your screen. When we're talking about protection, I am a big fan also of the protective half cases. I have them on my M cameras. And there is a dedicated one for the Leica Q3. And this is actually pretty cool because you can open up the button and it snaps in with a magnet here, which is very cool because you can now exchange the battery without taking it off. You still need to take it off when you want to exchange the SD card, but you don't have to take it off anymore when you exchange the battery. So let's mount this. Better like this. It's not easy to show. Then you have to fold that thing down here. And here you can beautifully see the battery. If you can just, of course, turn it down. And then I am able to exchange it, and now it's protected. The original Leica Q3 half case comes in 3 colors. It comes in black, in olive, and in cognac. I personally, again, like the black one. I'm not that crazy with colors. The protective half case for the Q3 from Leica costs $335. If you don't like the Q3 lens hood, you can of course also use the camera without it attached. So you can screw it off, we already did that. And then you got in the box as well, you got this little lens ring, which helps you cover up the mount here. So this is an aesthetical accessory as well. So you can use now the camera and it looks beautiful without the lens hood attached. To cover the lens, because now of course this does not work anymore. It actually does, but it's not, I wouldn't do that. It's not that stable. It actually works. Yeah, but I wouldn't do it. There is another accessory you can have, and this is an extra lens cap. This is a Leica lens cap. You can also use a third-party lens cap. Important is that you buy one for E49 filter threads. This perfectly fits the camera, and now I can use it without the lens hood. When we're talking about taking away the lens hood, because I actually like it, because it gives the camera and the lens protection. Because if it is mounted, it's harder for something to get into the lens and scratch the lens. If you take it away, I highly recommend using a UV protective filter, which you also need to buy a 49mm or E49 filter. And then you can just screw it on the camera, of course, standard. And then of course the lens cap works as well. So if you like this more, you can use it like this. What you also can do, you can use the double security. You can detach again that ring, that aesthetic ring, and you can mount the original lens hood. Now you have a filter and the original lens hood, and you can use again the lens cap. I use it this way. I like it this way. I'm not always having the filter on because sometimes with hard light you have the ghosting effect. but I'm a big fan of this setup that protects my camera the best way possible. So if you like this video so far, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. We already talked about the battery. Even though we have the protective case mounted, I can take it out. This is the new BPS-CL6 battery. This is the original battery for the Q3. I guess it's going to be also the battery for the SL3 once it comes out, because it looks absolutely the same than the one before that we used in the Q2 and the SL2 and the SL2S, which is this one. So they look absolutely the same. Only difference is in the name. The one is called BPS-CL4. It's the older one, and the newer one is a little bit stronger and holds longer. And they also upgraded the firmware from the Q2s and the SL2s, and you can use the new battery as well in the old cameras, which I think is very cool. I used both of them already in my camera here because I have an extra one for my SL2, and I had the situation where I had to put it in my Q3 and it worked absolutely perfect. The price of the BPS-CL6 is $170. It's much cheaper, strangely, than the old one. The old one, the BPS-CL4, is $285 or was $285. So I think that's a good thing that it's a little bit more than $100 cheaper than the original one, and it's the better battery. So that's very cool. So now let me talk about accessories I don't own. First, the Leica Q3 wireless charging hand grip, the HGDC1. I don't own a hand grip because the hand grip you have to attach to the bottom of the camera, and you have a hand grip attached. You cannot use the half case anymore. So because I like to use the half case, I have no possibility to use the hand grip as well. And also I tried out the hand grip once. It's actually really cool. You can hold it a little bit better. But now with the thumb support here, I don't need it anymore because it's actually a light camera. And if it would be heavier, then probably it would be better to have a grip. I actually understand it a little bit better on an M camera, because sometimes on an M camera, when you have a heavy lens mounted, it could help to have a little bit the better grip on the camera. But in the end, I don't know, I never missed it. The new hand grip though has a cool feature. If you put it, and this is the next accessory, if you put it on what they call the Leica Q3 Drop XL wireless charger, it charges the battery just like that and you don't have to take it out. So if you have the hand grip mounted, of course you cannot access the battery anymore. So probably that wireless charging plate comes in very handy. But in the end, the hand grip costs $195. The charging plate costs $175. It's another almost $400 just for charging your camera, and of course holding it a little bit better, I understand that, but I decided to not go with that. Let me also mention that the Drop XL wireless charger can charge AirPods up to 5 watts, iPhones up to 7.5 watts, and other QI compatible devices up to 10 watts. Another very cool accessory that is actually free of charge is the Leica Photos app, and it has some exclusive features together with the Q3. It adds Leica looks. I'm not going deep into that here because I did a dedicated video I'm gonna link in the description, and I'm gonna link it in the end of this video. You can check that out later. It's really cool what they added for the Leica Q3. You can also set up your camera with the Leica Photos app, and it adds GPS as well. And of course, as I mentioned before, the app gives the possibility to remote control your camera and to remotely release the shutter button without touching the camera. So these were the Leica original accessories I found on the internet or I own myself. There are some third-party accessories I want to talk about that are not dedicated Leica Q3 accessories, but also very cool accessories I use for the Leica Q3. First, I like the Oberwerth Mosel shoulder strap. I mentioned that in my Q2 accessory videos as well. It is a very slim strap, it's leather, it's very flexible, and it's longer than the one you get with the camera when you buy it. I don't know why Leica still ship those leather bands that are so short that you only can wear the camera like here. I like to wear the camera around my shoulder, and the Leica straps are just too short, or you have to buy longer ones, which are very expensive. This is also expensive. It's about $100 or a little more, I think. And this is really cool. I really love it. I have it also on my M cameras, so you can see how it looks mounted. It's very stable. And you can also, because it's very flexible, when you're not using the camera, you just twirl it around your lens and then the lens is protected. I do the same thing with the Leica Q3. Then I want to talk about one bag. This is the Bowery bag, which I think is the perfect bag for the Leica Q3. Of course, it's flexible. You can do compartments as you can do with every photo bag, and the Q3 perfectly fits in it. And if you want to, you can also put an M10 next to it, which basically is the perfect light set to go out and take pictures. And of course, one accessory you cannot detach is the lens. The lens is fixed on the camera. I love this lens. It's a very sharp lens. I also did a dedicated video on the lens. I'm also gonna link that in the description. Check that out maybe after this video. But because the lens is so sharp, I sometimes use Black Promised filters to a little bit soften that up. I actually have also this little pouch from JJC. It's $12 on Amazon. And I have an 1/8 and 1/4 Promised filter. I bought them from B&W. Those are excellent filters, and they sometimes, when I'm out, they give me this little bit, especially at night when you have lights, they have this little glow around the lights. I think it looks very cinematic. I love that a lot. And with the pouch, the cool thing is when I'm changing the lens and take away my UV filter, I have a compartment here for the UV, and I just put the Promised filter on it. Last but not least, I want to talk about the SD card, which of course is here. I use a SanDisk Extreme Pro with 300 megabits per second. You need to have a fast SD card when you want to take videos, especially when you want to use the 8K possibilities you have on the Q3. With a slower SD card, you will not be able to take 8K videos. So buy at least a 300 megabit SD card. Before I end this video, I want to tell you the one accessory that I'm still missing for the Q3 camera. This is a cage, especially a smaller cage or something that's not too expensive, because when you use it as a video camera, I want to protect it more and I want to maybe attach it to my gimbal. And for that, I would love to have a cage that is dedicated for the Q3 camera. I tried the cage from my Panasonic S5 IIX. It's not working. I tried smaller cages for Sony cameras, not working. There are a lot of cages around, so if you know which one fits, please put it in the comments, because this is the thing I am really looking for. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you're interested in more Q3 stuff, check out those videos. Stay curious!